Students, as I told you, in story writing you will have to conversate or create a dialogue conversation among the characters of the story. So you can do that also in the story, and that is done especially and mostly with the stories be write in third person. So actually all the characters, the characters that you have mentioned, and that are the characters which are there in the story, you will have to create dialogue conversation between the characters. So you can use that also, but you should not do that unnecessarily. If you feel that a conversation is needed at that point of just juncture between the characters, then you should do that. You have to add conversation or dialogue only wherever it's needed, not unnecessarily. You do not have to add unnecessarily. You have to see, if you feel that the conversation, the dialogue conversation can make the story interesting, only then you should add that. Student, rule number 3 is a simple one. The conclusion. The rule number 3 is about the conclusion. The conclusion of a story is important. Conclusion means ending part of the story. You have to end as the whole summary of the story. The whole story should be made up to lead up to it naturally. When you are ending the story, it doesn't look like that you have forcefully made that ending. It should like that it's a natural ending of a story. Whenever you see a movie or whenever you read a story, after while reading it or while watching a movie, you feel that how's the ending of the story, and sometimes you feel that the ending is quite forceful. You do not able to attach yourself with the ending. You feel that this is not the natural ending. There's something wrong. An out force has been used there. But if the good story writer always ends a story in a natural way, it looks like that, yeah, this is the right ending, this should be the ending. When you end, there's a very famous phrase in English, all wells when ends well. So actually you will have to end well, and end should be look natural. It doesn't feel that it's a forceful ending. Writer has tried so many things and ultimately he has reached to this conclusion. It shouldn't look like that. It should be look very natural. Yeah, this is happening. Whenever you are reading a story, you should feel that this is not a story, this is the reality. A story is as good as much it can make the reader feel real. And for that to happen, ending should also be natural. It shouldn't be an artificial ending. It should look that, yeah, things has come to this one by one actually. Students, sometimes you are asked to supply a heading or title of the story. In that case, you actually choose the main character of the story, the protagonist of the story. You would have seen many films in which the name of the hero is actually the name of the film also. So just like that, you can name your story on the name of the main character of your story. For example, the barber of Baghdad, this is the character name in the story, and that is the name of the story also. The pot of olives, this is again the name of the character. So, or an incident also, some main incident of a story, some main topic point of a story, or the main character of the story, you can name that also of a story. Or sometime you can just express the whole story in one proverb. And naming the story or giving a title or heading to a story, it means you have to say in one word about the story. In such cases, students, you can use the one worders, two worders, phrases and proverbs which very well explains your story, such as no pains no gains. There are many stories that can be expressed by proverbs or the quotations. In such cases, you can use a proverb or a quotation or a saying, or an idiom or a phrase to name your story, to give the title of your story that suits to your story. So that's the rule number 6. And how this is the very important point, because for giving the story the title, for giving the title, for giving the heading, you get actually 2 marks. Last but not the least, students, you have to see that your story should be correct grammatically, and you should use as many idioms and phrases as possible. So your story should be, your composition means to say that your whole story, whatever you have written, your written composition, so your written composition should be grammatically correct, and you should use idioms and phrases and proverbs as many as possible. This makes the story interesting, and it should be in simple English also. It should based on the standard, on the whole standard of the language you are writing. It should not that many sentences you are writing in simple ordinary English, and then in the middle of you just give one high eloquent sentence or phrase or idiom. It should, everything should go bit together. So you should use idioms and phrases and proverbs in the story, and you should see that all the sentences are grammatically correct and everything is grammatically correct. After writing, after finishing your work, you should revise your work, because revising always gives you a chance to edit and to what it is called actually, I have forgotten. It actually gives you a chance to forget it, and if necessary rewrite it. And sometimes you feel that there is a mistake, you should recorrect that. Sometimes while revising or while rereading, you get a new idea, it just suddenly comes to your mind which you want to add. So revising is important. Revising gives you opportunity to actually correct your mistakes, and then to actually just add something, few missing points that can make your story more interesting and readable. And if there is a mistake, you can recorrect it also. So